3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome to Weird Nation. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Christina. And this is where things get weird. We're still working on the intro. Bear with us. Please hold. Please hold for the next 15 episodes. We'll get there. You'll come on a ride with us. It's a journey.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just record the intro separately.
We will eventually. I mean, maybe by the time we edit this. All right, guys. So this week we're actually going to be talking about meditation and intuition and how they form together and how it's easier or not as easy or whatever we think to use one in conjunction with the other.
And on top of that, we're going to talk about how to use your intuition to better yourself, when you should and shouldn't listen to your intuition, and if your intuition can actually be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christina,
Mm-hmm.
how do you practice meditation every day?
So daily, I have mentioned before, but every single night I make sure to listen to a nighttime meditation to go to sleep with. And that could be anything from just turning your mind off and listening to a story, or as interesting, I guess, as listening to a full-blown chakra clearing and cleansing meditation to go to sleep with, that type of thing. I actually have a playlist of about 400 videos that I kind of let cycle through at night, and that's from YouTube. So it kind of goes from one to the other, and as long as my brain is on, then I'll do that while I'm going to bed. And in my opinion, it's a very easy time to meditate because you're already sitting there, you're waiting for your brain to shut off. Why not give it a little helpful nudge?
Now, Christina, is that something that we could link for our YouTube followers?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, but I guess I could link the playlist.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a little in depth, but I could link some really good videos that I love too for you guys. I'll make sure to write that down.
So I will include
What
that
about
in the comments below.
Yeah, and I think one of our main things we want to stress here is that meditation isn't this crazy, weird thing. It's something that's scientifically proven to just better your everyday life. You're less stressed. You can think easily, more clear. You can problem solve easier. You don't get as much anxiety. It's just a great tool to have in your arsenal. It's not something these weird floofy people do, even though I am one of those. Sarah's a little bit too. What about you, Sarah?
Meditation doesn't have to be sit down with your eyes closed and just be with your thoughts, because it's so much more than that. It can be so much more than that. It's taking your mind and allowing yourself to be present. It's less thinking about anything or clearing your mind of everything, and more just being present in exactly what's happening. So one of the things that I tend to do is I'll listen to music, and like I've said before, and I'll sing along. I'll just really listen to the words and allow the music to really enter my body and do wherever that takes me. So if I feel like moving to it, then I do. If I feel like singing, I do. I'm gonna turn that off. Don't know if you heard that.
Say that last part again.
Because my phone. So basically I just do whatever the music kind of makes me feel. So if I want to move, I do that. If I want to sing, I do that. If I want to, get up and dance and move away from my desk, like that's something that I do as well. And I'll do that right in front of during my work day, so especially now that I'm working from home.
I was about to say that makes it easier.
It makes it so much easier.
You just get up in your cubicle and just start pounding away.
I don't have a cubicle. We are open concept, my friend.
Yeah, you are. Very nice.
It's dope.
So for you, I want to ask you, how do you decipher the difference between intuition and logic?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So intuition is what you feel. So my intuition right now is telling me that I am enjoying doing this podcast. Logic tells me that I should be a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, but my intuition says that it's something that I enjoy. So logic is grounded in fact, it's grounded in the things that you know, whereas intuition is the things that you feel.
Nice. I love that. That's good. Um, so intuition, what I have learned, is actually located in a specific part of your body. It's a chakra called the solar plexus, and it's right where your ribs kind of split apart, right in your gut. So whenever
Why,
you're
like,
curious about
following your
something,
gut.
follow your gut. If you're curious about something and you don't understand how to use your intuition and you think that your logic keeps getting in the way, focus right there and then ask a question. If it feels a little bit tight, or if you have a nervous energy and a feeling like stage fright, like it's just maybe too excited, a little bit scared, then don't do that thing. You have your answer. It's usually a yes or a no type answer that it gives you. But if you feel like you're taking a breath of air, it just feels calming, relaxing, and just, okay, then do that thing. And what I've learned is that it doesn't make sense so much of the time. You really,
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to completely separate out logic if you really want to go by your intuition. But what I've learned is that every single time that I've gone with my gut instead of logic, even if it made absolutely no sense, it's worked out perfectly. I've like it's mind blowing the things that, let's say you have to get home really fast and you know that you have to take that shortcut because you have to get home fast to feed the dog or who, whatever. But then your gut tells you to take the really long way around and you're like, why is this happening? This has happened to me actually a number of times. And when I've done that, it's because that there was a train in the crossing and I would have absolutely never gotten past there for about 25 minutes, as opposed to the long way around, which is maybe 2 minutes more. I was able to like duck right through. So yeah, just listen to your intuition as much as you can, and try and learn the difference between logic and intuition. It's really helpful.
Not only that, but intuition is something that you hone. It's something that you can't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to go with my intuition today," because
Yeah,
it's a muscle. It's something that takes
100%.
practice. It's um I was going to say something and now it's gone.
It's a
Help.
muscle. You hone it. Well,
Nope, it's
yeah.
gone.
So when you start, you're gonna feel like you're making all these things up, and you truly can't tell the difference. It's extremely difficult. You just have to keep on keeping on. You just have to keep trying and seeing what works and what doesn't, and eventually you will fall into those patterns where you understand the difference and you know what's right and what's wrong, and it just comes with practice. It's like anything. It's like, what's something that we could relate this to that helps you feel more, or
Well, it's kind of like meditation.
yes, actually, meditation's extremely difficult when you just sit down to do it. It's a nightmare, and we know that. And I know that we're both saying, hey, go meditate. We're not saying go sit down for 20 minutes and just turn your brain off, because that's actually impossible. All you
We're
have
saying
to
take
do
a 3 minute
is,
song.
or something. Honestly, what Sarah's saying, one of the best ways to start meditating is to, what's that called where you're just in the moment? You said it earlier.
Being present.
Yeah, just be present with yourself. Just focus on breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is amazing. It's where you focus right under those ribs again. Don't let your chest move, but let this your underside move. Whenever you're nervous or don't know what to do, take 3 diaphragmatic breaths and see how it goes. I think you'll find it's much easier to make a decision and you'll feel much more comfortable with the decision that you make.
It's really true. Um, so, Christina, something that I'm wondering is how have you worked to hone your intuition? You know, we talk about needing to hone it and that it's a muscle. How have you done that?
When I first started, it was extremely difficult and I almost gave up a million times because I couldn't get a clear answer. And that's the main thing is when you first start, you don't get clear answers. You get very muddy. You have no idea what's right and what's wrong. And that's the problem. But if you listen to your brain, it's almost always going to give you the wrong answer. That's listening to your ego. That's you doing what you think is right. But you'll just learn the difference. That's all that I can tell you. It's like drawing. The more that you do it, the better that you get. You just have to keep going because you'll learn. It's like I've explained before, I keep trying to become a psychic medium, but it's very difficult. And I have to learn the difference between my imagination and what's real. And the only way to do that is to give reading after reading after reading and have people give me honest feedback telling me that makes no sense. I don't know where you got that from. And then I'll kind of understand the difference between me making it up and something that actually comes to me in that flow. And you just have to keep doing it. It's like Sarah said, it's a muscle. By the way, if anybody would like any beginner type psychic readings, hit me up in the comments below. I'm planning on doing them at no charge for a long time just so I can actually practice.
And low
And
key, it's
eventually, like I
intense.
say, yeah, I've given Sarah a lot of completely unwelcome readings before. A lot of the time when we've been drinking, so.
Yeah, it's good times.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I could use that feedback, like the intuition and everything. You just got to keep going. You just don't know what's real and what's not until you feel it out. Plus, if you can, get yourself little tiny yellow crystals, yellow anything really. It actually goes with the solar plexus chakra. So it could be fun. You can just order them online, whatever. And the more that you kind of look at them, the more that you keep them around that specific area, the more that maybe you'll find they're interesting, or at least, at the very least, they're a talisman to remind you to keep in that correct headspace.
And I think on top of that, it's just a lot of working with yourself and getting to know yourself and getting comfortable with yourself because that's something that's huge. You just have to be able to sit with yourself. It's who you are. It's not about being perfect. It's not about knowing exactly what to do all of the time. I find that working with your intuition is something that you just have to grow. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's going to lead you wrong.
Yep.
And just be aware of that. Like sometimes it's at least at the forefront, it's going to feel wrong. But at the same time, if you follow your intuition, sometimes the most rewarding things that you can do is by following your intuition. Now,
Yeah,
I talk a big game.
definitely.
I'm not perfect. I'm really bad at following my intuition. But I think that it's something that we should talk more about more.
Yeah, I think that it's something that everybody knows about and always talks about on some level, but it's a bit of an esoteric thing to be in everyday society. People always say go with your gut, right? Your gut instinct, things like that. And it's gut for a reason. It's gut because you know it. You know where it's coming from. You know what the right thing to do is. You just have to listen and be there with yourself. And the thing is, meditation can allow you to be there a lot more with yourself so that you're open to these things that come through. And what I love to do and would highly recommend, even though it is annoying, is to get a journal and just have it right there, right beside you while you are meditating. And like Sarah was saying, just put on a song, just be with yourself and just write down any random, ridiculous things that come to mind. It doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sorry. Um, yeah, just write it down and then at least you can kind of decipher the types of things that your brain is going through. And I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but the main reason that meditation is so difficult is because we have what's called a monkey mind. And I don't remember who coined that term, but basically it's the front chatter. It's the thing that says, I maybe have to get groceries today, or I don't know if I can say that because what if that person thinks this way, whatever. There's a monkey mind that's constantly chattering. And if you can give that monkey mind something to do, even if it's complete random ass scribbles, like just literally scribbling on a page, it allows the inner voice to come through much clearer because you're letting that brain focus on something completely different. And then you're just letting yourself be able to feel. Do you want me to ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay, Sarah, I have another question, completely unprompted. Um, has intuition had more or less of an effect on you as you get older?
Ooh. Now that's something I've been reflecting on for a while, especially as I've hit my 30s. Ugh.
Meh, meh.
Wah, wah.
She's so
No,
old, I
I
don't know how
think
she does it.
I know. Look at my face.
Oh, look at my
Uh,
face.
it's just so no, it's fine.
Oh, God, decrepit already.
Ah. Uh, no, it's good. But no, I've really taken entering my 30s as an opportunity to like experience or reflect on the things that I've experienced and think about, you know, what I'm feeling about where I'm at and how I'm feeling about how I'm moving forward. So, like, intuition is really paid into that because it's taken a lot of effort and time and energy to really think about all of the things that I have been doing and think
Good.
about, you know, the times that I was right and the times that things went forward the way that they were planned and maybe the times
She's right
where
most of the
things,
time.
which is not most of the time,
But the times where things.
but the times where things like went off the rails is almost more informative than the times that things went right, you
Yeah.
know. I really feel like my 20s were an opportunity for me to do things wrong and
Mm-hmm.
learn from them. And I'm still not doing everything right. And there's a lot of circumstances in my life that, like, I definitely am not following my intuition.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of circumstances where I've been working hard to do more with my intuition. And I really think that it's paid off. And in the times that I have followed my intuition, maybe it didn't feel right at the moment, but
Mm-hmm.
moving forward and looking back at it now, it's a big part of how I came to be where I am.
Good. That's amazing. That's a great response. Yeah. Intuition, I feel like you just go by naturally when you're really young. But then people keep saying, well, why do you know that? How do you
Are you
it
sure?
are you sure? That's the biggest thing. And then you think, why am I sure? It doesn't make sense. So then you rethink it and then you correct yourself and you overthink and then you completely disregard that entire portion of your humanity. And then we live in our heads and we don't go with what just feels natural or appropriate. We go with what we think sounds correct. And no, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, no, I was going to say, like, and not just going with it is something that's kind of bred into you because you want to do what's right. You want to do what pleases. Like, I am a
Mm-hmm.
classic overthinker. You know, I will
Mm-hmm.
always do the thing that pleases other people. And that's something that I've really been working on stopping doing.
Good.
And, Christina, like, my
Yeah.
entire school age years were spent doing what I thought was right for other people instead of doing what was right for
Yeah.
me.
Definitely. It's really hard to get back to what you know is good for you. A lot of people, especially empaths, try to please other people. And an empath is just somebody who is a lot more honed in on somebody else's feelings. And a lot of the time, you can pick them up a lot easier. So if somebody's feeling upset, you might try to make them feel better as opposed to actually doing what you think is right. Oh, we'll go to your restaurant or, whatever the case might be at the time. And I just want to stress as well, this is something that won't come into your life probably for a long time, but for the decisions that end up being incorrect, when you are absolutely sure that you went with your gut, don't disregard that. There's a lot of reasons that your intuition might have put you in a bad situation, but ultimately it's the right thing to do. There was, like, for example, let's say your intuition tells you that this new person that you've met, you just started going out, they're amazing, they are your soulmate. You know that to the core of your being. And then maybe they might throw little jabs at you. They're not the best person, but you're sticking with them. And then a couple of years go by, and maybe it's emotionally abusive, maybe whatever is happening, whatever, right? And it ends up being a terrible relationship and it wasn't the right relationship for you. And then you get discouraged to listen to your intuition because why did it just tell me something that was totally wrong? Well, maybe it's because you had to learn from that experience to be a better person. Because a lot of the time, we're not able to meet our soulmates or the people that we were supposed to connect to a very deep level on unless, frankly, we've been through it. We have to learn from our mistakes in order to not make those mistakes again. And a lot of the time, bad situations make us better people, right? Or if it just tells you to do something simple, maybe, yes, that guy's your soulmate, go on a date with him right now, do it. It's because you'll meet your actual soulmate in the ice cream shop. He's the one making your ice cream or something, right? It's just, you need to be put in that situation to actually advance. So I'd say just keep on keeping on, even if it seems like not the right decision. It always is. I guarantee it. Never. I'm not kidding. Never. I have not listened to it a multitude of times, and I am approaching 30 as well. I'm not as old as Sarah, but pretty close. But to be fair, we joke about 30 being old, but it's not old. We still have a lot of life experience to take in, but we have been through quite a bit. And what was your question? I don't. What? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So, oof, man, I've been down the logic road many, many times, and it has never served me well. No matter what, I've always made the wrong decision, and sometimes it's the tiniest decision, but sometimes it ends up being massive. Okay, I have one. One time, pretty recently, I decided to go out for brunch with my boyfriend Rob, and we so we went out. It wasn't that recently. It was like February or something, but I'm never doing it again. So anyway, we went out for brunch and we decided that we were going to stop in at this place called Phil's. Maybe I should cut that out. We decided to stop in at this nameless brunch place that doesn't have like a great reputation. It's just a major chain. And they have a lot of gluten-free things on the menu. And I have celiac disease, which means that anytime I ingest the tiniest crumb of gluten, my body thinks that it's something bad and it tries to attack it, but it doesn't attack it, it attacks my own intestines, which causes a multitude of other sicknesses. And for me, I'll explain in a minute. But anyway, so we went to Phil's, and I really, really wanted to have a huge waffle, and I was so excited. And that's mainly the reason why we went there. So they had this gluten free waffle, and me and Rob got gluten free things as we always do. We make sure that everything is completely gluten free. Otherwise, I'm a little messed up. Anyway, it was fine. And my intuition told me absolutely not. Do not do that. Don't go to Phil's, first off. And second off, do not order what you're going to order. And I thought, why? But it wasn't a strong feeling. That's what I want to stress here. The feeling was just so minute. I asked it and I was getting a clear, no, you shouldn't. But it was a, No, it wasn't a don't do this. So anyway, at the end of brunch, we looked at our receipts, and there was only one thing that was gluten free, which was his dish. It wasn't mine. So I almost get to work and I start feeling a little nauseous, and I think it's from maybe I had too much coffee, whatever. I get to my house to grab my things for work. I start kind of dry heaving, and then we almost get directly to my work, and I throw up in a plastic bag. And yeah, so I go into work. I say, "Can you please call somebody? I don't think I'm going to be able to come in today." And then we drive home, and I get sick maybe 15 more times in a plastic bag on the way home. So that entire waffle that I had eaten was just regular flour, and I was paying for it all night. But that's the thing, is that my intuition barely told me. It it told me the amount of, like, it stressed it about the amount of, should I go left or should I go right to go home? You know, it was that amount of like, whatever, you could do this, like, type thing. And yeah, I just want to point out that no matter what your intuition tells you, always follow it, no matter how strong it is. Always, always do what it tells you. It's important. Oh, yes, good point. Good point. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. As with anything, don't put yourself into any dangerous situations at any time, no matter what. But yeah, if you're just starting out, it's just another learning experience. If you think that your intuition did you dirty, maybe it wasn't your intuition. Just what you can do to practice is really, really easy things. For example, is this rock green? Is this rock green? Oh, it just hardened up. It hardened up in there when I said, is this rock green? So no, this rock is not green. Practice with the simplest, stupidest things. That way, it actually gives you a chance to understand what it feels like to you, because it's a little bit different for everybody, of course. Yeah. Yes. Sarah makes a very good point. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're not making a major decision and you are just saying, should I get skim milk or should I get almond milk? Just, think with logic. Am I lactose intolerant? Maybe I should get almond milk, And then if that feels right on both levels, that's a really great way to practice too. Practice with the small stuff. Yep. Yep. Rob, whew, Rob usually gets the brunt of my being stupid with the lactose intolerancy. Recently, we went out and he got chocolate syrup, and we were so excited because he wanted hot chocolate. And we're talking the children's like Nesquik, but we were just excited. It was a fun thing to do. So we put it in a whole bunch of milk, and it tasted amazing. It was perfect. And 20 minutes later, I said, I gotta go. Litigator. I'm gonna be away for a little while. Hmm. See ya. Rob did just replace his bathroom fan though, so that was a little. Anyway, I'll probably cut that out, but. uh, yeah, you're right. Honestly, I do rely on that a little bit. I love ice cream and stuff, so being stupid with lactose intolerance isn't something I've learned my lesson with yet, but I know I will. There'll be that one time. Yeah, and you'll just be severely uncomfortable, or you'll just shit your pants at a black tie party. You never know. Anything fun can happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When she was all groggy and she was like, "Hello." That was fun. Yeah. Dicks. Mm-hmm. Excuse you. Yeah. And let me stress this, if she eats a piece of bacon, she will be sick for the whole day. And it sounds like something that she's making up, but it's not because she's not been able to process these for so long. Her body just got used to it. You know, she's literally evolved to not eat meat. Hmm. But you were okay. Wow, that's lucky. Yep, good point. Yeah, it sounds pretty scary. No chance. But yeah, man, I feel for you. That is not a good time. I've seen it happen to her. It's really sucky. Yeah. Oh, allergy, not just great. A lot of people can't digest eggs or tolerate them as much as we think that we can. Just so you know, I've been reading just dietary things. Hmm. Yeah, actually, that's a really well known thing. There's a book called The Medical Medium. If you're ever interested, it's about different diets, I guess, that you can start to make pretty much everybody feel better. But yeah, he says that eggs are almost intolerable by everybody. They're just not a great thing to eat, which sucks because they're so inexpensive and easy to find. I don't know if they're that tasty, but they're in everything. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, it is. Man, Rob was allergic to eggs for his entire life up until a few months ago, actually. And he's 30. Well, he'll be 30 in a few weeks. But yeah, so it's a nightmare trying not to have any eggs in anything. I really feel for people who can't do that. Anyway. Hmm. Yes, one hundo. Yes. So that's funny that you bring that up because things like eggs for me, I'm not allowed to eat because my intuition tells me I'm not allowed to eat them. And if you just do something as simple as ask, should I be eating this? What I feel happens is it doesn't only give you a yes or no answer, a tightening up or a easy breathing sensation. What it will give you is likely what you will feel like if you eat that thing or if you do that thing. And so something a little bit out there, but what that is in my opinion, you kind of reaching down different timelines. If you decide to make different decisions, there's different timelines that you could go down. Of course, you're changing what you're doing at any given moment. So if you say, what will I feel like if I do this thing? That a lot of the time tells you. And if I ask, should I eat this egg? My lower intestines and everything feels clumped up and gummy, and I feel tired and a little grumpy, and I just don't feel good. So that's why I don't want to do that. So that's a great point, Sarah, is that you definitely can intuitively eat. And that doesn't only mean stopping eating once you're full. Yes. You just know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. So, why is meditation important to you? Hmm. That's great. Pretty much all of the reasons that you've said. It's so important. I'm an incredibly anxious person. I am mostly an introvert. I literally used to sweat through all of my clothes when I was in high school. And it's not because I have a sweating problem. I used to think it was, but I just actually get that nervous. It's mostly around people, but I'm also nervous starting a new task. I'm nervous that I'm not going to be good enough. I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. It's just who I am. So doing anything is very difficult, but I find that if you just sit down and you meditate, things are easier. And sure, that sounds so cliche, but it's, I can't explain how much easier life is if you just sit down and you meditate for a couple of minutes. Not even on something, you don't even have to ask yourself a question or meditate on anything. You literally just sit there and then count your breathing, 3 seconds in, hold it for 2 seconds, 4 seconds out type of thing. Just do that for a couple of times and then you're going to realize that life just lets you take an easier path. So that's why it's so important for me. And it allows me to get in touch with myself and with my spirit guides and with everything around me. It just lets me get in touch with what I need to get in touch with. And sure, you might not believe in spirit guides, or you might not, like, this might not resonate with you, but at least taking the edge off is literally what it's like. When you get home from a really stressful day and you just have a glass of wine and you're like, oh, yes, that's what it's like. That's what meditation is like, except it also, instead of just relaxing and feeling comforted, it's also rejuvenating. So it's like, yeah, it's a really nice breath of fresh air, confidence booster, exciting time all around. Mm-hmm. Super. Kind of, yeah, actually. I almost always eat things intuitively. Because I know peanut butter is not good for me in the long run, but for right now it is for some reason. And I'm pretty sure it's because I've had Red Bull and my body doesn't want that. So it's like, you should probably, eat something heavy. Mm-hmm. Do you have another question? I do. Okay. Okay. This is a bit of a two-parter, but what is the importance of connecting meditation and intuition for you? And what would you tell someone who's just getting interested in either of those things? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually surprised when Sarah came up with the idea for this podcast to make it about intuition. And I thought that that was amazing because I hadn't really realized that you were doing that very much or very interested. But it's a great practice. And it's just something, I mean, if you don't believe in all the extra stuff, you can at least believe that you have an inner knowing. You have a conscious. You have a conscience, you know what's right, you know what you should be doing. And if you can't logically tap into that, it's your gut talking. So listen to it a little bit more. Yeah. Also, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, practice makes perfect. That's all there is to it. But just keep in mind that if you don't get a clear answer right then, maybe it's because you're not supposed to do that thing yet. Maybe it's because you have to wait a little while and ask 20 minutes later. There's a lot of reasons why you might not be getting a particular answer. And that just means that, like, I've done that a lot where I've really needed to know the answer to something, or at least I thought that I did. And then it made me wait to ask. And then later I would ask maybe the next day and it would be crystal clear. Absolutely, you have to go and do this thing. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. Go do this thing right now. Whereas the day before, I literally, it made no sense. Like, yes, no, like maybe I kind of feel like a tiny, tiny little bit. That's a major thing. If you can't understand what it's telling you, leave it. Walk away. Go do something else. Come back to it later. It's probably not that important right now. True that. Good. All right. Well, I think that that is pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us blab about everything that we've been going through, all of our thoughts about meditation and intuition and how they connect to each other. Yeah, if you're at all interested in anything that we're doing, please reach out to us. Ask us questions. We're here to be your friends. We're here to not be role models. We're here to explain our fuck ups and how maybe you could use that information not to fuck up so bad yourself. Yeah, if you guys ever have questions, please feel free to comment them and it helps us as well. So do anything that you feel like doing. Ask your intuition about it. And just yeah, please subscribe to our podcast. I mean, sometimes they're interesting. We think we're kind of cool. We think so. Well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Instagram. It's doing a lot right now, so it's we're gonna have to figure that out. But yeah, we'll leave all of our links down below. Go check us out anywhere you feel like, and we love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of our lives. We appreciate it. Okay, stay weird. Bye.